Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am going to be having this model sit and let me do her beautiful face, which I'm going to be using the Melt Cosmetics. Here we're just cleaning her face a little bit, even though she did come with nothing on it, but you know, on the time being, since she is running around, just wanted to make sure. Next, coming up, we are going to be using the brush for her lips as well as on the eyes, which is the MAC 283. In between that, I did clean it off, and that way the lips and the under eyes are hydrated, since she is in school and she does work as well. So we're just making sure that she is more relaxed, especially on the other eyes. And then coming up shortly, we're going to be using Bedazzle, the 769, and I am going to be using the primer by Decay, just a bit, and here we go. We're starting off with that and just making sure everything is very seamless. Then coming up, we're going to be using the Bedazzle 759. And I'm gonna put a paint pot by MAC, the soft ochre. I'm using the MAC spoolie to take it off because I just grabbed enough. That way I don't double dip on any of the products, because it's not good to be double dipping. And then from there, I'm gonna be picking up one of my small Real Technique little beauty blenders or sponge blenders, whichever you prefer to give it a call. And then from there, I'm going to be picking up a little bit of the RCMA using one of my Real Technique brushes, and then I'm topping that off in a few moments as well with the MAC NC1, so then that way it's not too light for her, because she's in the medium size tone, but I realized that the RCMA was just a little bit too light for her. And then the shadows that I am going to be using excuse me, which are all going to be Melt Cosmetics. It's going to be the first one, which is the Blurr, and I'm going to be using the same Real Technique brush with that, and I'm just going back and forth just to have it as a transition color until I feel comfortable that is nice and seamless. And these shadows are really good. I can't believe that I really don't take them out very often. Then the next one, I'm going to be changing up the brush, which is a MAC 286, and the next color that I'm using is called Last Cherish, and that I'm just putting it like towards the middle of the eyelid. And then from there, I'm just going to be picking up another color, and it's called Rubbish. I'm still using the same MAC 286 because the Last Cherish, it was more like a very beigey color, so it doesn't really pick up a lot. So the Rubbish color is like a mustardy tone that is giving a nice transition at the same time. Then from there, I'm gonna be taking Caracas. That's like a more of a plum color, and the same MAC 286. And I'm focusing more on the corners. From there, we're gonna be doing shortly another color again, which is a Melt Cosmetics, and it's going to be another brush by MAC, which is a little bit smaller. That one is called Breakout. That one is a darker color. It's like a darker brown, I would say. And I'm going a little bit further up on the lids. And as you see, I'm just going back and forth on that until I feel comfortable that is the perfect color that I want it to be. I just tell her to look down just to make sure. Here I'm just keep on blending that same color, which is the Caracas, which is like a dark plum color. It's beautiful. And then just going back and forth. Between that, I actually put a color which is a little darker, which is called Breakout. And here I'm just telling her if she feels comfortable. And then right here I'm just picking up actually another MAC 217. I didn't put any color or anything like that. I'm just blending the outer corner and the inner corner, so then that way they can actually just blend in together. Then with the 286 fluffy brush, I put a little bit of buff, not too much. Then just showing her like half of the results, just to let her know what I'm doing and to see if she feels comfortable with that. And the name is not Bluff, it's actually called Blurr. And then I'm just using the 218 Morphe brush just to give it a little bit of a transition, so that way when she does open up her eyes, it just floats correctly on what I have in mind. And then shortly I will be picking up a Bedazzle, which I love those brushes. Between Bedazzle, Morphe, and MAC and Real Technique, those are the main brushes that I always use on my clients. So again, the brush here is the Bedazzle, which is the 936. I'm using LA Girl, the classic ivory color, which is a light color, and I'm just focusing in the middle part of her lids, because from there we're going to be using the NYX glitter, which is it's like a glitter glue, and I'm using that with another Bedazzle, which is the 936. And then here I'm going to be using a MAC Bedazzle. The colors are Flash and Dash. Then I started using a Real Technique in a few moments, just tapping on the glitter. But first here I'm still going to make sure that the glue is perfectly on how I want it, because she does have some big beautiful eyes, so I wanted to make it pop enough for something that she is comfortable with. So here is what I was just mentioning with the Real Technique. I took the Flash and Dash, the new glitters from MAC that they're called Bedazzle, and then I just kept popping it in slowly, because I really don't want it to be all over the place, because glitter goes all over the place and it just makes a big mess. So you know how that goes. And here I'm just doing the next eye little by little. Then what I'm going to be picking up shortly is another Bedazzle, which is a very small brush, and I believe that one is the 772. And But here I'm just using my fingers just to kind of melt everything in with the shadows and the glitter. Then coming up, I am going to be using a very small little brush, and that's a Bedazzle, which is a 772. And I'm so sorry about the noise outside. Kids are coming out of school already, and those are the school buses, so I do apologize if there's a lot of noise. But the color that I am actually using in the inner and the outer corners is called Blurr. And then once again, I'm picking up another little brush, and that is going to be the 780, and it is another Bedazzle, like I said. And what I am doing here is just going like over, so that way the top part can just actually connect together and there's no gaps. But I just want to make sure that the inner and the outer corners are really packed in with that color, so the middle part could actually pop out, which that's what I was having in my mind. And this is what I was just mentioning, the Bedazzle, which is the 780. And the color that I am actually using is the Blurr shadow. Just going just like a windshield wiper motion, not touching the middle part, because I don't want any of that color to go into that middle part, so that way it can pop out. And then here we are picking up a Morphe brush, which is the 286, and that color is the Caracas, is like a plum color, which is really good. I love that. I love Mel Cosmetics anyways. If you guys don't have these, you got to get on the bandwagon, because they're really good, and they're really soft, and they're not expensive at all. So I'm just going like a back and forth, but working more towards the outer corner, and then just blending all that to make it all seamless. Then here, coming up, we're gonna be touching the eyebrows, and she really doesn't need too much. I'm using one of my Morphe little spoolies, and the color that I'm actually using is chocolate. We're just gonna do this a little quick because you already know how that goes. I don't know if it's boring to you. It's not boring to me, but in case if you would like an eyebrow in depth with a client, just hit me on this video, and I'm more than happy to do that. Then next, in a few minutes, we're actually going to be picking up a flat brush, which is the Bedazzle. We're going to be cleaning underneath, and the color that I'm going to be using is the same LA Girl concealer, and that one is called Classic Ivory. And just picking that up like in a few seconds. I just had to just do a little bit more on one of the eyebrows because it had a little bit of a sparks. But here is what I just mentioned with the 714. And then here I just actually just sprayed a little bit of the MAC conditioner just to settle it down, since she is on the dry side, so I just wanted to keep her face moist. And then with a MAC 130, I actually did a little bit of a mix of Embryolisse and a Strob cream by MAC, and I'm just going a little fast on here so that way you can see. Then with a beauty blender, I just pressed all that in. And then I picked up a Peach light corrector by MAC, and then just use the Morphe 173 just to go like right underneath. And then I went back with a beauty blender just to press everything in, so then that way it's really penetrated under her eyes, since she does have a little bit of puffiness, not too much, but I just wanted to make sure that everything is how I pictured it. And then I went back and picked up the Radiant Prime and the Hydrating Primer, and then what I did was I just mixed that together, because again, she is on the dry side, so I just wanted to make sure that when everything settles in, it doesn't actually like crack. So I wanted to make sure everything was very smooth on her face. So as I mentioned, here I'm just with the same brush, and then I'm gonna be picking up a beauty blender because I'm prepping her skin, and just pressing everything in, especially like underneath her eyes and her cheeks, because she did mention that is where she is normally like on the dry side. Then coming up, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm going to be taking Makeup Forever HD foundation. I'm actually going to be mixing two colors because it's very rare when you do pick up a foundation and it is exactly your color. So I'm actually picking up the 235 and a little bit of the 365, and those are all N for like a natural tone. And I'm using here a flat brush, which is the MAC 161, and then I'm just buffing everything in with a Real Technique. This brush is amazing. I love these brushes as well. Then I'm just taking, in a few seconds after we do a little bit of fast forward on the blending of the foundation, which is right here, so then that way it doesn't get too boring for you guys. I'm gonna be actually taking a beauty blender, and I grabbed a little bit of the e.l.f. It's called e.l.f. Illuminizer, just to keep the face, as I mentioned more than once, very moist. And I was just asking her how does her face feel. She says it feels really good. So that's what I want to hear. And then what I am going to be using right now is a Real Technique, and I'm just adding a little corrector by MAC, and it is the Boost, the lightest one. I can't recall the one that I picked up, but it is the lightest one. And I'm just putting it under her eyes because again, her eyes are a little bit dark, so I just want it not for anything like to peep out. And then just use one of my little blenders, and I just went a little bit quick on this part here. Here I took another Bedazzle brush, and what I did was I put a little bit of the MAC NC41 first, just to put it underneath her eyes just a bit. I didn't pound her a lot with that powder because since she is in the dry side, so I just didn't want to put too much on it. So I just didn't want nothing to move or anything like that. So what I did was whatever was on that brush, I just kept on dabbing it and then just put it like under her eyes, like around her forehead, her chin, around her nose, so that way nothing is going to move. But as I said, it's just something that is on the brush, but not a lot. So what I did was I just tapped some off on my hand. And then I believe here I'm going to be picking up the Mercia. And I'm using this little brush that I love this brush so much, but I have no idea the name of it. It was from a long time ago, one of my Ipsy little goodie bags or something. I believe it was from them, but I did just use a little bit of the Mercia and just patted everything in. I kind of pressed everything in, so then that way, like I said, nothing is going to be moving. And then here I picked up one of my big Sigma F10 brushes and used MAC Gimme Sun to start bronzing her face. And I was using that same brush and I used the Holla Bronzer. And here I'm just doing like the number 3, like I call it, just to bronze her face. And then shortly I should be doing her nose, which she really doesn't need anything on her nose, but I did. And that is the E50. It's kind of a flat brush, but I kind of pressed it in a little bit. Well, actually I used the F10 and then I used the E50, which is this one as we speak, and just kind of blended everything in all the way towards like the beginning of the eyebrow, so then that way it's not like a harsh line. And then I just like actually pressed everything in. Then with a Sigma brush I used, I believe, 2 colors. Yes, 2 colors from one of the MAC palettes, and it's called Gold and Proactive. So I put that kind of on the cheeks and a little bit on the forehead, and then I just actually used the Beauty Blender just to press everything in. Just a little bit of a oomph to the cheeks, a little bit to the forehead. That's a little trick that I sometimes do just to pop it out. And then under her eyes I took a M10 by Morphe, and I started with the under her lashes, under lashes. The first color that I actually started with was Unseen, and then from there I just blended everything out. And then from that color I jumped to another color, which is called Last Caracas. And the brush that I'm actually picking up here is a Bedazzle 755, which I actually used to blend everything, the Caracas and the color Unseen. And then what I did was I picked up another Bedazzle, which is a 763, and picked up Flash and Dash, and I just put it in the inner corner. Then used a disposable mascara wand and used the L'Oreal waterproof mascara. And then here I'm just picking up some lashes, and I believe those are the D006 by the DooDoo lashes, which are amazing. And they weren't too thick or not too thin. They were more on the natural side, which I love these lashes. I'm gonna have to pick up more of these. And then from here I just picked up one of my Marc Jacobs gel eyeliners, which are really good. It goes on really well. It just slides on and it's not really hard on your eyes. What I did, I just went back, asked her if she was okay, and then I just took here the MAC gel liner with one of my, I think this is one of my MAC brushes, very thin, and put the liner in the inside, and then I started doing the liner on the outside. And I didn't do such a big wing because I wanted to show off more the eyeshadows, but at the same time the liner was perfect for her eye look because her eyes are big but not too big. And then here I'm just fanning her face after I put the Badesceuo spray just to start prepping her face and having all that moist go in her face. And then with the MAC 160 I use Hyperview by MAC, which is a highlighter, and it's always good to spray the face and then put any highlighter, so then that way it doesn't go on so dry. So then with the Morphe brush, no, I'm sorry, not a Morphe brush, but with a Morphe sponge, I just pressed everything in, so then everything will just go on really smooth. And then here I'm just picking up one of my MAC liners, and the liner that I'm using to start off is one of my favorite ones besides the Drk Cosmetics liners, is called Whirl. So I started lining her lips with that, and I kind of like did it a little thick because I wanted to mix it up with two of the MAC lipsticks. And as you can see, I love MAC. I'm not sponsored with any of the products that I did use here, but the lipsticks that I mixed was She Better Work and Pink Print. And then I just put a little bit of gloss with a Bedazzle brush. And here with a 147 by Morphe, I just kind of like put everything together with the liner and with the lipstick, so then that way it's not so harsh and it kind of is blended seamlessly together, because I didn't want like the liner to look like a liner and then the lipstick. And then
oh my god,
the results, as you can see.
so cute.
You like it?
Yes, I love the eyes.
Everybody loves the
Oh,
eyes.
they look so good. Everything. Oh my god.
You like it?
Yes, I love it. I really do.
It's like a peachy brown color.
Yeah, I love the eyes.
Yeah.
And the lashes.
The lashes are perfect, right? Because I know you're not too used to the lashes.
Yeah, I really like it. Yes.
Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please give it a thumbs up, and you have a great blessed day.